Meeting is now live. Okay, I'll call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice
for all.
Welcome, everyone. Thanks to all you that are here in person, braving the cold weather. You people with your wood stoves, I hope you bake. Consent agenda, recommended action is approve the items below which are indicated, which include in the consent agenda, which is 5A, meeting minutes of the December 1st regular board meeting, and 7B, the special education packet. May I have a motion to accept the consent agenda, please?
Yes.
Thank you, Daniel.
Second.
Thank you, Martha. Any questions, comments?
Liam, are you voting?
Aye. For some reason, I'm not logged into the. It won't let me join the meeting. I don't know what's going on.
How about Colleen? Can you ask her?
No, mine's not coming up either.
All right. Are you a yes?
I'm a yes.
Okay,
7 yes.
so we have 7 yes. Motion passes 7-0. Good to the cause. Any call-ins or emails? Or okay.
I'm going to say no. Actually.
Okay. Budget status report, Dana.
Okay, if everyone wants to take a look at the 5Cast Plus performance update, you'll see that for the fiscal end of November, revenue-wise, about 16,799,000, 84.1% compared to 91%. What this is saying is currently about $953,000 below where we were last year. And you'll see that across the board, you're seeing negatives at all the sources bringing that about. But as I said, the last meeting, really all of these performance updates are really just a snapshot as to when I send the stuff and everything gets uploaded. It's uploaded usually at the beginning of the month, but one of the things, I mean, we had a revenue that came in and it just didn't get posted into our Envision in time. Because if you were looking at right now, today, December 14th, our actual earned revenue is $17.5 million as opposed to the 16.79, and that's actually trending a little above where we were last year at this time. So that just kind of gives you that perfect example of how these reports are truly just a snapshot of that day when everything gets uploaded. So we had a little over $700,000 that got posted at the very end of the month. That just didn't make it into Envision before this was reported. Expenditures were still trending below where we were last year at this time. And again, this is showing a little over $2 million less than, but it's the same thing there. When I look at snapshot today, we're actually for our expenses, we're only off about $500,000 as opposed to where this is saying 2 million. So it looks really big at this point in terms of us not spending as much, but in reality right now, there's a difference of about $500,000. But again, that's kind of expected with the way the year has been. We're not doing field trips. We're not doing extra transportations, after school programs, things like that. We didn't have as many coaches in the fall time. We haven't started up with winter wouldn't be until end of February anyway. So expenses are down from last year. But I just didn't want you to think that we were sitting at about $2 million less than where we were. And that's true at the time that this report was put together. But in reality, it's about $500,000 difference at this point in time. So when you look at it in terms of projections, we're still projecting out that our expenses are going to be less than what they were last year right now. And revenue will be slightly less than what we budgeted. But that's a projection, and we're talking December, not June at this point in time. Questions on the performance updates? Just kind of give you, looking at it, we have received state funds. So, I mean, that's always the big thing in the news. We look at it right now. We've actually brought in from gross state aid just under $1 million, $670,000. So, we do have state aid coming in. So it's not that it's not coming in. Really, the bulk of, the majority of that won't come in until March. I mean, our total state aid is a little over $3 million. But what we're seeing right now is everything tied to our teachers' retirements that we get credited with in the fall time. Treasury report. So as you can see with the Treasury report, we're still sitting on a sizable amount of money in our cash sweep, about $20 million. That's similar to 2 weeks ago when I said about 14 million or so is our property tax revenue that has come in. We brought in a little over $16 million in tax revenue from the property taxes. We're still sitting on about 4 million, not quite $5 million, still in the bank from our capital projects ban. So one thing nice about that, with the capital project ban is even though it's a separate fund and it's not connected to our general appropriations accounts, we do benefit from the interest that it generates by sitting in our bank accounts. So as long as that money's there, but really the vast bulk of that $20 million at this point is the revenue we've brought in from property taxes. And obviously, as the year progresses, that number will go down. We won't see it stay high as last year because we will not be getting any more infusion of a ban to pay for the capital project that will be sitting in our accounts. This will start going down, and hopefully by the end of this year, most of that capital project money will be expensed, and we'll be rolling everything over into our bonds and start paying that down. Still see, a little over $700,000 in outstanding checks. When you look at that is really a couple of big items there. Almost 500,000 of that is two BOCES payments that are outstanding. One is for our health insurance premium. The other one is what we would pay for just administrative and operations for BOCES. So that's just about 500,000 of the 721 is just two outstanding checks to BOCES. Otherwise, things are still very sound.
Any questions? Treasurer's report.
Thank you, Dana.
Thank you, Dana. Superintendent's report.
All right. I want to start tonight with congratulations because we've received 2 certificates from School Board University, and I'd like to read those to you. New York State School Board Association certifies that Daniel Cash of Lake Placid Central School District completed Government 101 New School Board Member Academy. And that includes safeguarding district resources, roles and responsibilities, the responsibility of the Board of Education and school district finances, the responsibility of the Board of Education in managing school district fiscal fitness, the responsibility of the Board of Education and budget development. Based on that, I think you could have given that budget status report, right?
I have it. Yeah, I can do it all.
Also, you completed the New York State mandated Fiscal 101 Fiscal Oversight Fundamentals. So these were live virtual trainings of 6 hours each. Sounds like a big chunk of time that you've committed and dedicated in addition to your normal school board duties. So Dan. Congratulations.
The fiscal one was deadly in person, so I can't imagine.
I think they sped it up because it was just a fire hose of information and a test.
All right. You must have passed.
I did pass.
Yes. Well, congratulations, Daniel. Other things to mention. So just some news. We have a special education program that we rely on for some of our youngest children in the district, preschool aged children, high needs special education students. They currently attend a program at Children's Corner in Saranac Lake. Unfortunately, that program is located in Lake Colby School. Lake Colby School, owned by Saranac Lake and contracted out to the Children's Corner Pre-K program. That school building's being sold. So that program is going to have to move. And that means that 3 or 4 of our children who attend there in Saranac Lake will be consolidating with the program in Tupper Lake. So our students in Children's Corner are going to be moving sometime after the holidays from their building in Saranac Lake to their building in Tupper Lake. And that's unfortunate for them. The good news is that the program in Tupper Lake is a good one. And so they'll continue to be served at a real high level. So wanted to let you know that. Also just wanted to follow up on the December 5th and the December 9th positive cases that we had here in the school district. 2 cases, one at the middle high school, one at the elementary school. The one at the middle and high school in the end did lead us to shift to remote instruction for all middle and high school students for 1 week. And then at the elementary school, a different case also caused us to shift to remote instruction for 2 days, last Thursday and Friday. So that also, probably the biggest disruption in the positive cases is, first of all, we're always worried about the person who is testing positive, and the good news is that so far we haven't had nobody to my knowledge has become terribly ill, and in some cases they remained asymptomatic. The disruptive part comes in the form of the quarantines. And so a number of people were quarantined the first closure period at the middle and high school, and then this last one. So there were 17 students, 16 quarantined plus the student who was isolated, and then 10 staff members who were quarantined and remain quarantined through now. So just want to acknowledge that's difficult for them, of course, as I know that some of our board members know from their own experiences. And then, of course, it's also a challenge for the school to maintain staffing and to maintain instruction the way we're doing. But the good news is that we have reinstituted in-person instruction at both schools. 2 days in, we're doing all right. Cross your fingers. We have another week to go before the holiday break. So that's the positive case situation. And then just to let you know that we are doing some things to prepare for what might come. And what might come is requirements for testing students and staff. And that you may have, if you follow this from the state level, when areas are designated yellow or orange or red zones, then there's a requirement that schools, in order to stay open, test people. And so we've actually taken a number of steps which have prepared us for this. One of them is that we've been approved as a limited service laboratory. So our schools right now serve in that capacity under the guidance of Dr. Darcy Burris and then our school nurses. So we're able to implement testing here. That's the first thing. The second thing is we were also able to access rapid testing. So we're prepared to implement rapid testing if and when needed. And so we have those two pieces in place. And then the last piece to put in place are the testing protocols. So to make sure that we know how to proceed when testing is called for. So we're busy working on that. And once that is done, we'll be in a position to respond to some of those situations to, again, do our best to keep schools open if assuming that's the right thing to do, because we always have the option not to do that. But if we want to stay open, we will have to follow some of those requirements in order to stay open, should we be a yellow or a red or an orange, or should the rules change the way they tend to do these days and there be new requirements coming down the road. So that's another piece that's in place. So that's that news. And then just to shift back to the school news, just to let you know some of the things that are going in. There's far less activity this year than in past years, and of course I know you understand why. It's the holiday season, and it's particularly quiet, I think, given our experiences in the past with the holidays, with music and theater and sports and other kinds of ceremonies not really happening right now. But there are still a few things happening, and I wanted to let you know that our ski teams are practicing again. They're up and running. They did take a week off due to the shift to remote instruction, but they had started the week before, and now they're back on. So our ski teams are going, and that's good news. There are also some other events that are taking place. There's a free virtual art event that's taking place tomorrow. That's Wednesday, December 16th, and that's open to everyone in our school community. I know Alan Robinson, our high school art teacher, is very excited about it. This is open, however, to all ages and all grades. The details for how to access that are in the middle high school newsletter. So I would steer you in that direction if you're interested in that. Friday, and I was mentioning this just before the meeting started, Friday is Polar Express Pajama Day at Lake Placid Elementary School. So elementary students will watch a video. So it is virtual. Mrs. Franklin reading the Polar Express, but they also get to wear PJs to school, which is a tradition. Today, by the way, was kindergarten PJ day. Friday is the whole school. I don't know if any of you have ever seen Cheryl Magliori dressed as a kindergarten teaching assistant. She's got some really wonderful outfits. So kudos to Cheryl and to all of the people in the kindergarten today. And I know that's just going to be multiplied on Friday. Kids get very excited about it. But so they'll listen to Mrs. Franklin read the Polar Express, or wear their PJs to school. They'll have hot chocolate served by the RTI team. And a lot of people spend time putting these things together. So many thanks to our reading teacher, Laura Coffin, our RTI team, Peggy Moore, Heather Bickford, and Anna Jemzova, and all of the other teachers and staff members who are keeping the elementary school a fun and lively place, despite the limitations this year. We're also working on our future planning for next year. Teams have met, but we have decided to put off the combined consolidated work at the middle and high school until after the holidays. We felt like that was probably the right thing to do this year. So our future planning meetings will proceed after the holidays at both the middle high school, and the elementary school. Other things, we do have school all of this week, and then the first 2 days of next week. So winter break begins 1 week from today, or after next Tuesday, after the close of day next Tuesday. So I know that's exciting, no matter what year it is, no matter what's going on, that the holidays are coming. And so to everyone on the board, happy, we'll say sixth night of Hanukkah, right? Happy Kwanzaa.
Not yet, but
Soon.
soon.
Merry Christmas, also not yet, but coming, right? And of course, Happy New Year. We'll see you all back here, I know, on, we think, January 5th. Yes. And that's everything I have.
Roger, I did want to put in a positive comment that even though there were only 2 days last week of remote learning, the feedback that I've heard is that was markedly improved from the springtime, and it was very effective. And I heard that from, probably 4 or 5 families, that it was a huge improvement. And I think it was just a matter of everybody getting into a system and really fine tuning it. So good for them.
Yeah, thanks, Colleen. That was also our observation from the school. You know, there was a lot of checking in and following up on things. And yes, it's very different. The organization is very different. The expectations are very different. Yeah, and people were really ready to go. You know, they've been preparing for this since September. And the good news was that we didn't have to do it until December. And then once that time came, that they were still, you know, quite ready. And I agree that the feedback I heard also was very positive. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah.
Any other comments? Questions? Information for the board. There are several items: the extracurricular account report, the senior exemption information with a memo from Dana in there, the diverse equality initiative group and the meeting minutes, the last meeting minutes. There's COVID information, and there's a discussion on the Nordic ski team. Roger, would you like to?
Sure. You know, we had some concerns about the supervision for the Nordic team. Nordic team goes out on the trails, and kids with differing abilities spread out throughout these trail systems. And as you know, we have one coach, and so we had some concerns. The team, although we do not have the participation of keen skiers this year, we still do have the last number when I checked was 16 skiers. So and some differing abilities. So we had some concerns about whether or not we wanted to recommend, whether or not, you know, I should recommend to the board another coach, a modified coach. Since then, I've followed up. You know, we raised those concerns at the very start of the ski season. So that was really 2 weeks ago before they started practicing. Since then, we sort of discussed options. So we think that while, you know, having a modified coach to work with the younger kids, I think is an option still. We thought that a pretty good option would be to ask for additional help on days that extra supervision was going to be needed, and to provide extra duty pay for those days. So, you know, right now that's sort of been our go-to about how to respond to the supervision issues. I talked it over with our athletic director, John Burdick. He's talked it over with our coach, Bill Frazier. They seem pretty happy with that. So I think when I wrote up this information background, I wasn't really sure how it would play out, because, you know, until you really go out and do what, you know, and practice and get out there and ski, you just don't really know how it's going to turn out. Since then, you know, we've had some experiences out there. Mr. Burdick and Mr. Frazier both think that they would be, I think, happy to have an additional person when needed, and that might end up really being just 2 or 3 days a week. So we still have the option for the coach, but right now I'm okay moving ahead with the extra duty support. And I don't know if board members want to weigh in on that or have opinions, or.
I think I think it's a great program. So I think that whatever support we can give them would be good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I would trust Coach Frazier and Mr. Burdick if their judgment is that extra help would be better than, you know, we can always explore a modified coach at a future date.
Sure.
But I think that definitely giving that program some extra support would be great. Because that is a lot of kids to have out.
Yeah.
You know, even if they're all the same skill level,
Yeah.
that's a lot of kids to have all by yourself. So I
Yeah.
think that whatever kind of extra help we can get for Coach Frazier.
Thanks.
So Roger, you're just indicating like on a per diem basis. So if there's 2 days a week where your enrollment is popped up for the day, put on support for that day, where maybe another day during the week, or is this each day? Like a full-time person?
Yeah, it wouldn't be full-time if we continue to proceed this way. I think if it was going to be full-time, it would be the right way. The right thing to do would be to advocate for the full-time coach. Right now, they're not looking at a need every single day.
Okay.
So it would be just, again, it's an estimate, a couple of days a week.
Okay. No, that sounds fine.
Roger, are we seeing a dramatic increase in participation because there's only there's only the skiing is allowed for winter. There's no hockey team. There's no volleyball. There's none of that.
That's right. There isn't right now.
Yeah.
The last change, which came last week, was up to this point, the high risk sports. That's what they're calling them, high risk sports: basketball and hockey and as well as wrestling in other schools. They were still slated to start on January 4th. That changed last week, and essentially the Public High School Athletic Association stopped making that statement, and they said we're not anticipating high risk sports moving forward unless we hear some kind of positive affirmation from the state level, something like what we've heard before from press conferences by the governor or other statements by state level officials. So I think that it's less likely today that we're going to see one of those teams starting up than it was 2 weeks ago. So, but yeah, but your question, Liam, is did we see an increase in participation? Slight, but not dramatic. So 16 is a little bit more. We've had, 10, 15. Last year we had over 20, but that included the keen skiers. So there's probably, I think there were a couple of skiers who are new and might have played another sport, but not a tremendous number. We didn't have the whole basketball team or the whole hockey team flocking to the slopes or to the trails.
I think Coach Frazier's done a good job building a good program.
Oh yeah, the program's top notch. So yeah, I agree.
My worry with per diem is the availability. If suddenly there's 16, 17 kids and that per diem person is not available, then
Yeah.
Is it likely that the days they need help is the days they're actually out on the trail, not like conditioning days or weight room days?
Yeah. Yeah, and actually not just every day on the trail. There's some days I think that they're fine. It's when there's multiple things going on. I know that sometimes it's really just a matter of supervision and tasks like waxing skis and all kinds of things that the coach ends up doing that you just can't do all those things at once. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Kind of identifying what those days are, and again, last time I checked, they were feeling okay about it. But I agree, Rick. I think that if that were to change, or if the availability wasn't going to be there right now, again, I asked for a follow-up from John Burdick and Bill Frazier, and he said so far so good with that. So,
any other questions, comments? Okay. Linking goals with agenda items. Can guarantee silence during this section.
Well, there has to be students first and
Just said
foremost.
the
This
capital
would be,
project under leadership, but that's a standing.
Students,
And remind me that students first and foremost is one of ours. Because you're so focused on the students and teachers.
Sure.
That's what we were talking about with the North program.
It's true.
It's always an easy one, but that's the easiest one.
Okay. Anything else? If you do, just let Karen know, please. Next up, capital project update. Roger, Dana.
Sure. The good news is that we're coming to the end and we're getting very close. So we're in the final push for the auditorium. The other good news is that the elevator at the middle and high school is now being repaired. So you might remember that we had to replace the pistons, and I kept on hearing that term piston, and I thought, oh, so we have to put in new pistons. No. New pistons are a lot farther than I can reach my arms. Are about 12 feet or so long and very thick.
They look like they're heavy.
They look very heavy.
Those are the
So
ones in the hallway
yeah,
downstairs?
so those pistons are going in this week right now, and they're hoping by Christmas to have that part all ready. So that's done. We did have a setback where we had a leak in one of the classrooms up here. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, right. One of the classrooms right above us, right above me, I believe. And we had quite the water leak. There was a problem with a louver that was stuck open, and that allowed one of the pipes to freeze, and that caused a burst. And that was discovered over the weekend. So thanks to all the people who were working on the weekend to get that cleaned up. But we believe we have that repaired and the room repaired, and that we're ready to finalize that. Those are some things off the top of my head. Dana, you've been working hard on this. You have anything to add?
Well, one thing that came out of the leak was that was a classroom that we needed to remove the carpet and put in new tile. So that ended up getting done. So that is a positive to that leak. Yeah, we have a new floor in that room. So we didn't have to wait until the summertime to do it. Young Lion was very quick to come in and put a new floor in. So I was very appreciative how quickly Young Lion was able to come in and do that work. But no, as Roger said, we're really winding up, and we had our health and building safety meeting, and we talked about this. I met with Chris early on Monday to get an overview of where we are. And a lot of things are at the punch list stage at this point. So I would say 95% of should be winding up. But unfortunately, there are some things that will be held until springtime. Like outdoor stuff. There's some hydro seeding that still needs to take place. The wall, the ledge on top of it needs to get sealed. So the weather just turned to the point where they can't do that until springtime. Obviously, the roof issue, but really at this point, a lot of things, as Chris mentioned, the week of January 4th, a lot of the electrical punch list should be completed. And I think that's probably around that time the auditorium should be accessible again, as well as really winding down where the people being here on a daily basis.
I took a walk this morning over the front of the school and down, and boy, those lights are bright on those houses down
Yeah, so we'll be fixing that.
School Street.
We'll be putting hood covers on those lights, and that way the glare won't be reaching out to the houses on the street. They'll be shining down towards the road or the parking areas and the work areas right below the lights. But that won't happen until
change orders. Sorry. Get our act together here. There are 4 orders. Only one needs approval, and that will be coming up later on in the action items, additional action items. Any discussion on the others that are there?
Discussion on the paving.
What is it,
Uh,
2C or something?
Yeah.
SC2.
two things.
If
One, what-
not, we'll move on to minutes. That's under consent. Personnel matters, non-teaching staff maternity leave request. Upon recommendation of the superintendent, approve the maternity leave request of Nicole Trainer, teaching assistant at the middle high school, beginning on or about April 2nd, 2021 through May 31st, 2021, in accordance with Article 19B of the Lake Placid Educational Association's contract dated July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2023. May I have a motion to accept this leave request?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Martha. Have a second?
Yes.
Thank you, Colleen. Discussion. If there is no discussion, please vote.
Seven yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Long-term non-teaching staff appointment. Upon recommendation of the superintendent, Alexis Megliorti is hereby appointed to the long-term position of teaching assistant in the district, covering 2 teaching assistant maternity leaves, commencing on or about January 4th, 2021 through May 31st, 2021. The salary is at the per diem rate of $146.56, which is step 1, level 3 of the teacher's assistant salary schedule for the 2020-21 school year. Benefits to be prorated for the duration of this coverage. May I have a motion to accept this teaching staff appointment? Thank you, Dan. Second. Colleen. Any discussion? If not, if you'd please vote.
Seven yes.
And the motion passes 7-4-0 against. Additional action items. Change order approval. Recommended action is, whereas Lake Placid Central Schools capital project has begun, whereas it is anticipated there will be necessary and required change orders and or construction directives. Now therefore be it resolved that the following additional work is estimated to cost over $30,000, which requires board approval. Be it further resolved, the Board of Education hereby approves change order SC2 in the amount of $65,910. May I have a motion to accept this change order? Thank you, Liam. Second. Thank you, Daniel. Any discussion,
Yes.
comments, questions?
Can you hear me?
Are you muted?
Am I muted? What's going on here?
Oh, we're okay.
You can hear me? Okay.
The volume.
So my question is on the paving. And I thought it was paved. And then the other question is, are they going to address the runoff when there's heavy rains? My street gets just covered with the school's gravel.
So back to your original point about the paving.
Yep.
So it wasn't paved and then we moved ahead with the paving, right? So a lot of these change orders, I regret to say, the vote comes after the actual work is done.
Yeah.
So that this change order really comes out of an amount of part of our allowances that are already included in the project. So it's really not an additional amount of money. It's just coming out of a different pool So part of the $19.1 million project included a number of allowances that were put in place to recognize times like this when we simply needed to do things. So this, of course, all the road work was completely torn up, and in the project we did not have already pre-established the paving. So the paving becomes a change order, but the amount is still a part of the allowance. So that part, I think, has been a challenge to understand for me at times throughout this project. But at this point, most of our change orders are really coming out of money already allocated, not additional amounts beyond what we had hoped to spend. So that's the good news. In terms of the runoff, I'm not sure, Dana. I'll ask you in a minute to talk about that, to see if you have any additional understanding of that. I don't, Liam, and I haven't really had any discussion about how the runoff addresses the roads. So what Liam's talking about is that schools, the hill that most people drive up, the water goes down, and then it can run down the hillsides down below. And I know that you do live down there, so you see that firsthand. But we have done some work on the drainage in the hillside above, in other words, where all the landscaping was put in. So that part's, there are some pieces there that were addressed. We're doing some work on the drainage up above in the road area. Even just the last week, we've had people working on those different sewer drainage areas. So we're doing a lot of work to deal with the drainage. I just don't know about the runoff. And Dana, do you have any understanding of that?
No, I don't think they look specifically at drainage once it leaves our property, the school property.
Yeah.
I mean, as Roger's saying, is they've worked on the drainage going up into the school. They fix all the grates, things like that. But my guess is they did not look beyond the bottom of the hill as it leaves the property, and then so any runoff, they would probably say, they being the architects and the engineers, landscape architect, is a village issue, not a school issue. But I'm just theorizing at that point. But my guess is they did not even consider it beyond the property.
Liam, if you could bring that gravel back up too, we're gonna need that. That'd be great, thanks.
It's less that we have to clean up in the springtime.
Thank you.
Dan, did you have something? Dan, did you have something?
I was just trying to get your attention to listen to Liam.
No, I'm good.
Colleen, can you vote?
Did it go through? Hear anybody?
We can hear you, Colleen.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did it go through? Karen? And I can't hear Rick.
Rick, you're muted.
A perfectly
it goes.
orchestrated meeting.
Goodness.
Now you can hear me twice, right?
And you're echoing.
Special education consent questions regarding the January 5th, 2021 packet. Any questions? If not, we'll go to the good of the cause.
No, none received.
It's unfortunate. So we'll enter the adjournment phase. Next meeting is January 5th, 2021, followed by January 19th. That's the initial budget work session. And then February 2nd, Karen, you had a note in there to potentially move that, the final draft board presentation to the 16th versus the 2nd.
Right. Then would have more information to be able to provide
Okay.
a full work session.
Okay. Anybody object to that? So on February 2nd, that would just be a regular board meeting without any, okay. And then the 16th would be the final draft budget presentation to the board. Okay,
It'll be the work session, 6 to 7.
Right.
Not the board meeting.
correct. Okay. Seems far too early for that. But seems far too early to be saying 2021 as well. But look forward to it. Any old agenda items or new agenda items? It's only been about 50 minutes, folks, so we have to talk about something before we adjourn. If there is nothing else, may I have a motion to adjourn, please?
I'll make that motion.
Liam?
Yeah, I've been
I'll
on Zoom
second.
all day, so I'm good.
Colleen, second.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
740 against. The meeting is adjourned at 7:18. Happy holidays to everyone, either current or coming.
Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year.
And hang in there,
Thank all of
Joan.
you.
Oh, yeah. I kind of enjoyed the company tonight.
Yeah, with you. Just send off a flare if you need anything,
I
okay?
will. I was like,
Okay.
Dino is going to run outside at midnight tonight, Joan.
oh, well, have them run here and do something. I don't care. This has been like pure hell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's probably been really hard on your families too, Joan. Where have they all dispersed to?
Closets.
Oh, not great, not great.
Yeah, no, it's not good.
Well, we've been thinking about you. What a way
Oh,
to
thanks.
spend your birthday.
Yeah, I know.
Hey,
But-
hey, at least it's memorable.
That's for sure.
Are you at least able to go out for a ride to see the Christmas light and?
No, because they let the 911 system know that we're quarantined. So if we need anybody, they come in like suits. So if we're in our car, they said that they would not be prepared if we were in an accident. So we have to stay on our property.
That's what they told Jillian too. I questioned her.
Yeah.
I thought maybe she's making it up, but it's true.
Nope, it's true.
So she's been quarantining at our cottage down in Keene, and she gets out of quarantine on Thursday. So, yeah, it's been a lot.
I get out on Friday at midnight.
And where are you heading, Joan?
I haven't decided yet.
In the car.
Yeah,
Stewart's.
Yeah, somewhere.
good heavens.
Probably not far because I don't want to ever do this again.
No, probably not.
Yeah. So you guys all have a happy holiday.
Yes,
Okay.
take care.
Take care, everyone.
Good night, all.
Night.
Good night. Can you hear me, Karen?